I'm here with team car number 1 of Trek-Segafredo at the Giro d'Italia. It's the Skoda Superb. Let's see though if it really is superb. So the car is rolling on some 17-inch alloys and that's shod with Continental's rubber. As far as I know, Vittoria don't make car tyres, so I can understand the choice of tyres there. Moving up, this bike rack is actually probably one of the most popular ones you can get if you can get a custom pro race bike rack popular, if you see what I mean. Anyway, it's made by a company called Chantal, which is one of, I believe, only 2 companies who do make these custom racks. And why is it so popular, as I just mentioned? Well, the Skoda Superb is certainly the most popular team car in the pro peloton. Now, this model in particular can fit 9 bikes on the roof. And how do they actually work out whose bike goes where? It's not picked out of a hat or anything like that. Team leader, they nearly always go here because the mechanic, he's sat in the back and he can just jump out, grab that bike and get that team leader rolling as soon as possible again. Then on the rear of these racks, we can actually fit 5 spare wheels on there too. So again, these won't be used by the mechanic instantly. They've always got a few pairs of wheels in the back with them. They can just run out and get riders on the road. But these ones are more replacements for the spares. How do they get the bikes off then so fast? Because if ever you watch pro cycling from the comfort of your own home, you'll be amazed at how quickly they get them off. Well, there's no knobs, there's no screws, there's nothing like that to turn. In fact, it's just a simple lever. Open it up, you can lift that bike off and be gone. And then when you put the other bike back on, lock it up, good to go. But what about the stickers on the back? What do they mean? Well, Trek and Segafredo, I don't really think I need to explain those. But this one up here, Gruppo Sportivo, basically the teams, they get an allowance of vehicles in the race. And no, Trek Segafredo don't have 153 cars in the race, but there is 153 different vehicles related to teams in the race. 17, that denotes Trek's place in the race convoy, and that's determined by the best placed rider from the team in the overall classification. And then, as you can see here, we've got a number 1, and that just lets the team themselves know that this is the race car number 1. Right, you've had enough of the outside, let's see what's in the boot, or the trunk, I think they call it in some parts of the world. Come on. Whoa, look at all this. Well, first up, actually all of these bags, they're not going on holiday or anything like that. These are spare bits of kit for all the riders. So they've all got their names on them. Here we are, Brambilla, he's got his here. And then each pocket is labelled up so that basically if there's any incidents in the race, the mechanic can just lean over and find out, oh look, gloves in there, different types of gloves. So you've got summer gloves, wet weather gloves, and the same for jersey and shorts. If you rip a pair of shorts in a race, you don't really want to carry on with those. As well as a rain jacket and vest, warmers, everything like that. Also a spare pair of shoes in there too. And then tucked away behind all of this, we've got ourselves a cool box, which is full to the brim with bottles of Named Sport fuel. You've got some cheeky cans of Coke in there too, because after a race, sugar is just what a rider wants. What about this then? The hot seat for me, certainly. This is where the mechanic sits day in, day out for what, 3 weeks at a Grand Tour. So what actually do we have in here? Well, importantly, there's those spare wheels that I mentioned earlier on. So in the case of a puncture or a crash, the first thing that mechanic's going to do is grab those wheels and run out and try and find his rider if they're on the deck or if they've had the unfortunate case of a puncture too. Now, in this case, the wheels are actually different because we've got disc brakes as well as rim brake versions too. So when the team does in fact get notified via the race radio of a rider's puncture or crash, the mechanic knows exactly a rim or a disc brake version wheel to take with him to that rider to get them going again. Then of course we've got a full toolkit here, which is probably better than most people at home have got, and this goes with them in the back of the car. And then in the back of that, we've got a load of notes and bits of paper and all sorts where mechanics write down different measurements of each and every rider. Now, I would love to have a good old rummage through and check out and show you exactly what is inside of that box. But if the mechanic's anything like me, they'd go absolutely wild if someone went through their prized possessions, and basically that's the tools of their job, isn't it? So we don't want to upset anyone, or certainly I don't. We've also got spare bits and pieces. Like here, this is one of those data transmitters for the race. So this is what Velon used, and it basically transmits power, heart rate, speed, cadence, all that information so that viewers at home can be privy to it. I do like that bit of kit. We've got a spare head unit here, spare race radio, spare microphone, chargers, all sorts. We've got a towel, so important for the mechanic to keep his hands clean. What else have we got? Sun cream, or sun spray rather. Could do with some of that myself. We've also got Di2 charger. Important, of course, if you're using the electronic gears. Then, down there, a box full of gels and energy bars. You can never have enough of those. Inside pocket, dry lube, wet lube. We've got some super glue. Oh, lip balm, that's on the floor. That mechanic, he's not going to like me. I've also got loads of toe straps here too. Always good just for holding things together temporarily. So maybe if one of the clamps on the roof broke, you could just hold that bike on with a toe strap, or anything out on the road. Say if a rider's shoe buckle broke, you could use that, wrap around the shoe and fasten it temporarily until you get them their spare shoes out of the bags in the boot. Now, the mechanic as well has this in front of them, and that lets them know exactly whose bike is where on the roof of the car, because once they hear the number called, they know exactly where to go and grab it. Here, he's got himself a little screen as well, and it's not to watch the favourite DVD either out on the road, it's actually so they can watch the race, so they know exactly what's going on there too. I still can't believe they've let me in here. This is like mission control at NASA, but well, for a cycling team. There are more screens and cables and wires and bits and pieces in here than I can care to think about. But each and every one of them does play a very important part for that team director and assistant director, as well as the mechanic who's sat there in the back. First up, we've got a mount here for their own mobile phones. That means they can communicate, obviously, with other members of the actual staff behind the team. As well as up here, we've got a sat nav, so the director is aware of what is actually going to go ahead of him in the convoy. Because, believe it or not, that convoy can be a very hectic place and you're not that far away from the car in front of you. Then here we've got a television screen just like in the back there for the mechanic. So again, the assistant sports director, they can also see exactly what is going on in the race, as well as the built-in unit here, which is generally not used during the race. Then just above, we've actually got riders list there. So it's got their name and number here on the dashboard. So again, the director, when he's driving, he can easily just glance down there and spot that, no problem at all. Then we've got some speakers as well up here on the dashboard. Now, there's a couple of different race radios in the car. In fact, there's probably 3 different ones that the team are going to be using. One of them is just a one-way system, and that's the race radio. So that's where the lead commissar will in fact be communicating different bits of information about the race to the team. So breakaway information, punches, etc. Now, the teams themselves can't actually reply to that, otherwise there could be mayhem over the airwaves. Now, this is probably the one that the team director or assistant is going to be using most often, hence why it's on this handy cord and placed up here. So they're going to be telling the riders exactly the tactics for the day, that kind of thing. So, for instance, if I was the team director, I would be saying from kilometre 0, attack, 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 and then so forth up until the finish. So just keep going, boys. However, I'm not a sports director, and that would be my tactics, hence why I'm not. Now, this one here would be for the director or assistant or mechanic to actually be able to speak to other members of the team, so not the riders. So this is people like the soigneurs, mechanics, any helpers out on the road too, letting them know about race information and also things going on within the team, i.e. maybe they've run out of spare wheels because of a particularly wet day, that kind of thing, and they need to make a change over. So this one is vital too. But how is that all transmitted? Well, all those antennas on the roof, as well as in here, look at this for a control deck, 2 separate units in there, as well as a little remote control too. Some energy drinks here from Named Sport 2, a bottle of hand sanitizer. Of course, cleanliness within pro cycling, ultra important. What's this? This is the Garibaldi. So inside of here, basically, this is like the Bible for the Giro d'Italia. It has got every bit of information you could ever wish for. It's got information about the areas, it's got route information, the final kilometre, the profiles, everything basically. If you can get your hands on one of these, it is quite interesting reading if you're into that kind of thing. Then, inside pocket over here, we've got, again, it's rammed full of energy gels, bars, that kind of thing. So if a rider wants something, The DS, all he has to do is just reach out and give it to them, and then they're away again, fully fueled. Then in the glove box, we've got a spare radio and a spare microphone stroke speaker. So if a disaster does strike, they can easily start communicating again with the team. They've left nothing here, nothing at all. Got everything they need. I must just mention as well, driver, they've got themselves a little lumbar support in here because they spend hours in here each and every day, remember. Plus, importantly, I think, an automatic gearbox, so they can really focus on what's going on and no need to worry about changing gear. So these here are actually a little stage detail card for each and every stage. So a team can either stick them on here, one way up or the other way. Basically, it lets them know all different bits of information. So we've got the profile of the stage, as well as where sprints are gonna be, any King of the Mountains, anything like that. Then on the reverse side, you've got what times the start is and what time the signature, so when you have to actually sign on for the race. Things like the actual race start time, as well as finish time, or estimated at least. And then importantly too, anti-doping control, as well as race headquarters. These also can be folded up, so a rider can easily put one of those in their pocket so they know exactly what is coming up ahead of them. Now, for those of you who do watch the GCN Tech Show, you will know that I absolutely love a horn, so let's check out the horn on this one. Yes, I absolutely love that. Right, now do remember to like and share this video with your friends. And also remember to check out the GCN shop at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. And for another great video, this time another one from the Giro d'Italia, click just down here.